Speaking of interfacing with artists, I mean, talking to the artist, which I rarely do. I was once, when we were on tour with Buffett, we played a private event in Aspen, Colorado. And that night, I forget, maybe we were off the night before or the night after or something. We had a little bit of time in Aspen. And Johnny D, Johnny Dickinson, who was our drum tech, called me in my hotel room and said, "Hey, we're going to go to Glenn Frey's house and watch football and have some pizza. And it's just going to be you, if you want to go, me and Jimmy." And I should point out, this is, again, I've said this before, but this isn't something I normally got involved in or invited to even. So I jumped at the chance and I thought, sure, that sounds, if it's a low key thing. So it turned out Glenn Frey had a beautiful place outside of Aspen. And so as we pulled in to the driveway, we had to rent a car. Jimmy said to me, "I got to tell you something about Glenn before we go in. You can't talk to him." And I said, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" He said, he's a beautiful guy, but he's kind of weird and he just doesn't want to talk about anything." I said, "Well, okay." I mean, again, I've said this before, but artists are wired different and I love them and I'll respect that. I'll just sit there. And so we got into his place and he didn't say much, but he had this huge, TV screen and he had the Detroit Lions football game on. And I'm from Detroit. And I knew he was from Detroit. And I couldn't keep my mouth shut. And I would just comment on the game. And he finally turned around and he said, "You're from Michigan?" I said, "Yeah." And then that was all he said. It wasn't like he said, "Oh, great, I am too, and let's have a nice talk." And he and Jimmy were talking. They were carrying on conversation, but I was just sitting there. And at first I was kind of bothered me. And then I thought, I'm the only person besides these other three that are sitting in Glenn Frey's living room in Aspen, Colorado, watching the Detroit Lions with Jimmy Buffett and Johnny D. I'm the only person in the world. And I really cherish that, as awkward as it was. And it ended up being fun. We ordered pizzas and beer and I don't think Glenn ever did talk to me, but it was one of those, when you're talking to the artist kind of deals. Good.